Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second webinar of this webinar series that we are organizing for the summer internship program powered by the Comedkares Innovation Hub. So today we are all here for our second webinar of the series, that is how to prototype for digital products. So for which we have with us here today Dr. Tarun from Peak Health. So a warm welcome to you, Tarun.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Pleasure to be here.
So, yes. A quick introduction about Tarun before we actually get started. So, before we begin, so our speaker for the day, that is Dr. Tarun, is a digital health evangelist and a serial entrepreneur. Having a medical degree, he has served in India and UK, but with his passion for creating a sustainable ecosystem for everyone, he is actually the co-founder of two healthcare startups, of which one is Peak Health Technologies, where he is the co-founder and CEO, which is an AI-driven solution for the to check the employee health and the productivity. Whereas he's also a founder of another healthcare startup, that is Whiter Health, that provides early access to healthcare to all the rural and underserved people. So along with this, being a vice president of BioQuest Solutions, Tarun has also built a lot of healthcare products that is today serving close to 2 million people across India. So with this, it's really grateful to have Tarun join us here today.
All right. Thanks so much for the kind introduction. And I'm so glad when I learned about this initiative from Comedkares. I'm glad to be here. And um, let me start by quickly giving a quick introduction about myself, although a detailed introduction was given, but I like to give my version of it. So my introduction goes something like this. I'm a doctor by qualification, had my first pivot, and I came back from UK and started working more in the pharma space in building sort of various health tech solutions. And then, and that's when I sort of started to fall in love with technology. So I say that I'm a technologist at heart. And then eventually a sort of a transitioned into a product role and an entrepreneur role, where I'm now sort of building products and launching new solutions for various markets. Okay, so let me quickly bring in my. Sure. So let me get started with what the objective of today's session is. The objective of today's session is to help you understand what our journey is, and um, um, and also sort of help you walk along this journey, so that you can see for yourself what were some of the things that we encountered, how did we tackle them, and as well as relate to some of those experiences and see if it makes sense to do that. So it's going to be a very interactive session. I'm going to be asking you to sort of walk along this journey virtually with me. So it's almost like a virtual walkthrough. In the ideal world, maybe a VR walkthrough would have been better, but nonetheless, this I'm trying to sort of do my best to do that. Let me start by the statement, which is building wrong products is bad for everyone. You'll be shocked to hear that almost 70% of software products that exist in world, right, not just in India, but in the world, are unusable or are not used at all. That means developers, organizations have put in energy, time, money in building these products, but not many are using this. And this has been the challenge in which the way the products were built maybe 30, 40 years back, because people would probably just understand something, build a product, launch it out in the market, and then realize, oh no, not many people are interested in this, or not many people want this, and things like that. So a lot of times the products that are getting built are the ones which are not wanted by anyone, and therefore not paid for, and therefore they don't become viable businesses. So So we as founders and entrepreneurs and product developers, what is our idea of now product development? Now, our idea of doing product development is that how do we sort of take something which is very fuzzy, right? The ideas are generally very fuzzy, a figment of imagination. It just something strikes you. You saw something, you were walking something, you were talking to somebody, you saw something, you were playing something, and then a sort of a flash of imagination sort of happens at that point of time, and they say, "Hey, oh, this is a fantastic idea. I want to build something on that." So, how do you sort of take that, fuzzy idea and then convert that into a viable business model, a viable business? And a product that everybody wants to use, everybody wants to gain value from. So we as entrepreneurs, the number one task that we have at hand is that how do we sort of reduce the uncertainty that the how do we sort of reduce the uncertainty and increase the probability of our success, right? And in terms of over time, right? Initially, it is whenever you start an idea, you have lots and lots of uncertainty, lots and lots of things are unclear. Um, but how do you sort of keep on progressing over time and milestones so that you reduce the risk and then eventually you have a higher chance of success? So today in our journey, that's the objective. The objective is that how do we take an idea which is fuzzy, full of uncertainty, and then try to build into a product that is meaningful and valuable for a certain set of users, right? So before we get down, I want you all to quickly write 2 lines about your idea, because this will help me and you get an understanding of what we are doing. So your time starts now. I want you to write whatever idea that you have, whatever product that you're building, whatever idea that you're currently thinking on. Just write 2 lines about that idea. I hope you have paper and pen with you. If not, figure out or borrow it from your neighbor. But yeah, we will be using a lot of paper and pen. So have a notebook standby. Yeah, need not be very fancy, need not be very elaborate. Just 2 simple lines about what is your idea. Okay, last 10 seconds. And you all can give quick reactions of thumbs up and things like that, so that I know that at least something is happening. If possible, I know some of you are watching it over larger screens, so it's not possible. But whoever has access to a computer or a device, please feel free to give some reactions. Okay, so the idea was to write down 2 lines about whatever thing that you're currently working on or currently thinking about. And this is going to segue into what we are talking about and how did we think about ideas at our journey. But I want you to now reflect on those 2 sentences and see whether the sentences that you've written, are they talking about a problem or are they talking about a solution? Just reflect, take a pause and reflect. What does it talk about? Does it say that, okay, we are trying to make people more happy by doing something, or we are trying to reduce the defect rates in an engineering in a manufacturing process, or we are trying to increase the speed of delivery of goods from one place to another. This is one type of statement. The other type of statements are, oh, we have a marketplace of pet supplies. We have a social platform for young children. We are an aggregator of you could say drones, right? What does that statement look like, right? Reflect on that. The reason why I'm asking you to do that is that a lot of times our ideas tend to gravitate towards the solution, which is the second type that I spoke about. Like, we are an aggregator, we are a social media platform, we are a marketing solution, we are and things like that, right? So we tend to become very solution focused. And to me, this is one of the major pitfalls that I've seen in my journey and building various products is that we tend to gravitate towards product and solutions. Versus what we need to probably think about better is in terms of what is the real problem that we are trying to solve. And I'm going to share some of our journey, that how we started out. We also started out our journey uh, with with a problem, but a problem that was large and sort of affecting many lives, families, economies, world at large, kind of thing, right? So we were looking at COVID pandemic. We were a healthcare company, and we were doing some products and services for employers, but COVID hit and everything got shut down. And we were really scrambling to figure it out and make sense of, what is going on, what do we do, and how do we make sense of that. So what did we do? So what we started to sort of speak to our existing customers, their beneficiaries, basically employers, employees. We started to speak to experts in healthcare. We started to talk to general, you could say, experts in organizations such as HR experts, CXOs, basically business managers, business leaders, and things like that. We started to sort of talk to them and understand how COVID was impacting them, and how COVID was sort of disrupting their work and their employees' well-being and things like that. And it was a chaotic time, if you remember, especially around the second wave. I'm sure many of you would have faced some sort of loss at that point of time, directly or indirectly. But that was a difficult time, and everybody was really worried about their life, worried about how they will continue at work, continue with their daily lives, and so on and so forth. So how do we sort of make sense of all that things? So what we did is we started to speak to many stakeholders like that, and then started to collate all that information. And this information to begin with was very you could say unstructured, right? It is like, okay, some conversation over phone, some conversation over over a chat. Sometimes it is in a forum. Sometimes it is in a thing. Sometimes things we are reading in news and media. So a combination of various sources, we started to sort of collate that information. And this collation of that information, we started to sort of create different problem categories, like different problem categories about employees' health, categories about employees' work, categories about businesses, categories about businesses' profitability, categories around around employees' family members, categories about future, categories about the type of work. Like everybody knew, the whole operating model or the working model has changed from going to offices to remote working and virtual work. A lot of changes were happening. Communication was happening virtually and not so much so in person. So many things. So we categorize all those problems into various clusters, as you can see by these things. So we converted these conversations and things what we were hearing, reading, learning from different sources into some categories. Excuse me. And these clusters, then eventually we started to map on this one. This is another small framework called customer forces canvas. It's a simple canvas that helps you understand the different forces at play, and that help us sort of visualize this thing. So what we did with all these information that was coming through various sources, very diverse and very wide. So we didn't have a very small problem statement to begin with. We had a very large problem statement, as large as COVID, impacting everybody, from each individual to organizations to countries to economies. Everything was getting disrupted and impacted. So so we took that and then started to make sense and meaning for ourselves. Like, what do we want to focus on? Which is our focus area? And we started to sort of derive some insights, and we came up with some insights around employees' health and well-being and their families' well-being, and how it was impacting the employer, our organization, and business continuity kind of thing. And then we eventually sort of translated that into a problem and opportunity map, and started to sort of now converge. So large volumes of information that was coming, we started to now converge and started to distill down into something meaningful that we can work on. So it started to convert them into proper problem and opportunity maps, into various product ideas, features, hypotheses. We also got to know what are some of the current alternatives or current products that the people were using at that point of time for various, you could say, tasks and activities, and then came up with collation of all these into actionable insights that we can work on. And I'm going to show you two of them, right? But before I dive into those two smaller, you could say, things that we built, I wanted to again highlight the importance of this step in your ideation, and especially when you're starting out, right? When you're starting out, this is very crucial that you you understand the problem statement and in a wide manner. So you pretty much start very wide, and then try to sort of get as much variety of information, as much diversity of information around that problem statement, so that you have a better understanding of it. And then once you've had that, then you start converging and saying that, hey, what are the aspects of problem statements that I want to work on, or what does my idea want to revolve around? Because we couldn't do. So, for example, in COVID, we were not doing vaccination. We were not doing. We were not trying to invent vaccine. We were not trying to do RT-PCR. We were not trying to do. So what is that you want to really focus on? So we said, okay, yeah, we want to do something with employers and employees. So what are those things and things like that? So eventually that got translated into who do we want? Like, for example, there were many stakeholders who were getting impacted at that period of time. We said, who do we want to really help? Who do we want to sort of support? So we eventually sort of came up with one, you could say, target audience, which was this user persona called Responsible Ram and Responsible Rama. And if you're familiar with this this tool, basically you're just trying to define the characteristics of who's the person. Like, for example, again, we don't know what the person, but we said, okay, having heard all these conversations, let's broadly try to create a mental picture of what that person may look like, right? Or what. So we said, okay, he's a responsible Ram. This is his characteristics. Typically, he's male or female, 30 to 50 years old, college graduate, worried about family, but likes to relax on weekend. His goals are to be healthy, to continue working, grow in life. His values are very family oriented, etc., etc. So this gives you a sense of that, right? So even if you don't know this target audience, but you still get some sense of who the person that you want to build your product for, or solve the problems for. This is another, you could say, distillation that we did just to help you understand that we eventually sort of converted all that information into three, you could say, focus areas, right? One for the CXOs. CXOs are nothing but CEOs, CTOs, the business leaders, the top, you could say, management of any organization. We also wanted to focus on the managers, both HR managers as well as team leaders and things like that, because they were significantly getting affected in these things because the operating model had changed, kind of thing. So this is a framework that helps you understand that what was the root cause, why, what was happening, what was the problem, what is the opportunity, and what is the value proposition we wanted to offer to them, kind of thing, right? So, for example, for the business managers, the operating model disruption and the hybrid working model, people working from home, has widened the managers' communication gap and engagement gap with their employees due to lack of physical interactions. So how might we enable deep listening and building connections asynchronously with the employees wherever they are, so that we can help the managers understand and communicate better with their teams and therefore build their operational resilience. So we came up with these, we could say, key high-level value propositions for them, that how do we help the management ensure business continuity and build our business resilience? How do we help managers build team resilience and help their teams to deliver what they're supposed to work on? And then, most importantly, how do we help employees sort of address their sort of health needs and work-life challenges? And then how do we provide protection and make them feel supported so that they can perform the best? So this is our eventual, you could say, distillation from this exercise, which lead to do that. I'm going to probably also help you understand in terms of, although you may not be familiar with this methodology, but this is called design thinking, and in design thinking generally has two, you could say, large phases. The first phase is to identify the problem, what is the problem, and then second phase is what is the solution. So here I'm just showing you in terms of what did we do in phase one. So phase one, or when we were figuring out the problem, First, we went very wide. Like I told you, we spoke to individuals, employers, employees. We spoke to experts, both in healthcare and in HR. We did secondary research. We did competitor marketing mapping. What are some of the other people who are launching their products and services during that period? What are they talking about? How are they promoting their products, and so on and so forth? Kind of thing. So this is where if we casted our net far and wide, right? We went very, very diverge, as you can see from here. From the area of interest was COVID pandemic related disruption. So we went very diverge, very large, and things like that. And then from there, those tools that you saw helped us. Those insights helped us identify what the problem statement was and what the opportunity was, kind of thing. And this was again done with a bunch of tools like problem mapping and heat maps. Which problems are more urgent, more important versus which are not, kind of thing. So you can create a heat map. The 5 why analysis, again, a very, very good tool that I like a lot. This is a tool that helps you ask this question repeatedly. Why are employees not unable to work? Okay, because they don't have the necessary supervision from managers. Why the supervision from managers is not happening? Because managers today can't engage with them in a physical world, and therefore does not have time to do that. Why does not he have time for that? Because the time of interaction on virtual medium becomes larger versus casual interaction that used to happen while in office, while having tea or having lunch or just walking around and things like that. Those micro interactions were missing and things like that. So that helps you sort of layer down and go deeper and deeper into the problem. So there's another way of 5 why analysis or problem deep dive kind of thing. The other way of thinking about it is problem reframing. This is also very interesting. You could say way of looking at a problem statement. I don't know if you're familiar with. Are you able to see the screen? You are. Okay. Because I am not seeing on my other device, so I'm just a little worried. Okay. So here we think about problem reframing. We think about how do you sort of think about a problem statement, but not in the same way, but in a different way, kind of thing. And the best example and case study that has been written about is something called as the slow elevator problem. So back in the days when the elevators were invented newly, there was always a complaint from all the passengers saying that the elevators are too slow, and especially this is in the US where multi-story buildings or big skyscrapers had started to come up, kind of thing, like so 20 floors, 25 floors, 40 floors. So people would complain saying that, hey, the elevators are too slow, too long, and things like that. And then a lot of engineers came and then to try to figure out, well, how do you make the elevators go faster? How should we change the motors? Should we change this? Should we change that? Should we change the design of this equipment, that mechanism, etc., etc.? So a lot of thinking was happening, and nobody could come up with a good solution. But incidentally, a bunch of young college grads from, I guess, from Harvard or Stanford, I'm not remembering correctly, they were sort of given a task, and they sat in the elevator, and then they observed people, what was happening, and they're saying, the reason why people are complaining about long wait times is that people have nothing else to do in the elevator, and that's the reason they're getting bored and irritated. And so what they came up with, very simple idea and solution, is that in the elevators they put up mirrors. And now that they have mirrors, now people were busy sort of looking at themselves, grooming themselves and things like that. And no longer people are feeling that the wait time is long, kind of thing. So did they make the elevators go faster? No. It's just that they reframed the problem statement saying that, hey, the problem is not a slow elevator problem. The problem is that the people are getting bored because they have nothing else to do that. So this is problem reframing. And therefore the solution is different. The solution is just fixing mirrors. And that's the reason today in elevators, you'll see we always have mirrors, music, and something like that to distract you and not make you feel that the wait time is long. So this another example that I wanted to sort of give you is why thinking about problem deeply is important. This is the same reason, because if you are not thinking about the problem deeply enough, you will be in a hurry to think about a solution. That means, oh, let's build a faster motor, or let's build some other hyperdrive mechanism, or something like that, right? Or let's create two different types of elevators, one going from 1 to 20 and the second going from 20 to 40. So you'll be in a hurry to change the solution or build a solution because you're not thinking about the problem deeply. But the problem exploration and then deep dive allows you to think about problem more deeply. And to me, this is the most precious step in helping you not build the wrong product kind of thing. Because if you've understood the problem well and deeply enough, then you will have a higher chance of building better solutions and a better and the right one too. Yeah. So for me, this is something that I want to sort of leave you with as one of the core learning principles that I have embodied in our product development cycles and journey is that have an understanding of the problem more deeper than everybody else in the ecosystem. That means have better understanding of the problem, even than the person who are experiencing those people, than your competitors, than your investors. The better and deeper understanding of the problem that you have, the better and higher success you will have in designing your product and launching your product. So this is the first piece that I want to do. That the common pitfalls that I've seen time and again happen is that, number one, people don't think about problems, they straight away jump to the solution. And that's the reason I asked you to do that exercise when I asked you to write about the idea. So all the people who have written about the solution and have are thinking about their idea more in terms of solution first approach, pause and reflect and see how you want to think about what is the problem that my solution is going to solve, or for whom it is solving. And that is one problem. The second problem is that a lot of time people try to solve superficial problems. Oh, let's make this faster, the slow elevator problem. Let's make the elevator faster, or let's sort of do this, which is everybody else is doing. Let's build another social media platform. But why build a social media platform? It's superficial. Okay, everybody else is doing it, so let me do it kind of thing. Why build a social media platform? What is the fundamental reason of building a social media platform, or a chat, another chat, or another game and things? I was just sort of hearing and got to know that some of you have been given a task to work with blind people and building games for blind people. But the question I'm asking you is that, okay, why do people do that 5 why exercises? Why do they why do they want to play games? Why do games don't exist for them? What do they want to achieve by playing those games? What will help them? What are you really trying to do that? Yeah. So the idea is to help you get to a stage where you have a very deep and meaningful understanding of the problem, which you can target. And then once you've identified the problem statement, be precise, be target. Of all the problem statement, don't try to go everywhere. Always try and narrow the problem statement. Whose problem statement? So even the Facebook started off with a narrow problem statement of solving a problem for college students before it became a global platform. So think about in that sense as to for whom we are building and what is the deepest problem that you are exploring. Okay. Now I want you to again take this 1 minute quick exercise. Write down 3 actions that you will take to deepen your understanding about the problem that you are currently dealing with in your idea or in your project. Think about it. What 3 actions, simple actions? Will you go and talk to people? Will you go and do the competition mapping? Will you go or explore? Will you go and observe people? 3 actions. It could be any 3 actions. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It doesn't have to be the same as what we've done. It could, but my preference is that think about it in more in terms of talking to the people who are actually affected by it and things like that, because that to me is the most precious source of information. Even though you may get information from, say, reading, doing research, online research, checking some analytics, data, reports, etc. I mean, all those are important, but to me, the most important one would still be in terms of talking to a customer. So I hope you all have written your 3 actions. Again, all these exercises that I'm asking you to do is not for you to submit it to your to anybody else, but to yourself. It will help you think and have a better understanding of where we stand. How are we doing on the time?
Of course, we can take questions.
Got it. Okay. So now that we've figured out like how do we start from there? So we said, okay, let's start from problem statement. The question is that, okay, now we figured out, we've written the problem statement, we focused on this. Now, how do we go from there kind of thing? What do we do next? So the next in our journey was then converting that problem statement to saying that, okay, let's now start thinking about like, okay, if we build a solution, what will that journey look like? What will that story look like? So storyboard, and these are couple of examples that I'm showing you here, which are like, how do we sort of convert that? Okay, say, okay, this is how the story will unfold, right? Typically, there is a story, there's a hero, there is a problem, and then we solve our problem for that hero, and then that hero feels successful and happy and things like that. So we did some sort of a storyboarding around what will happen if they used our product or a solution. Similarly, a lot of people will say that, okay, I don't know how to draw, I'm not good at drawing. Don't worry about it. These are rough sketches and things like that. You can just even write steps like this. Like, for example, this is another way of doing that. If you don't like drawing, you can just sort of scribble down points like this, and this we, again, like I said, before even building any product, we started sort of showing these storyboards, showing these journey maps, and saying, hey, this is how we are anticipating our solution to do and help users go from a problem to a state of solving that problem. What do you think about it? And then we got, as you can see from these dots, these are some of the dots that were validated. That means they were we got a lot of positive feedback. Yes, this is meaningful. This will be valuable. Nobody else is solving this better, or nobody else is currently focusing on this part. So these allowed us to further sort of focus our ideas around which problem statements are more important, or which aspects of a problem, or which aspects of our solution are more in line with what individuals and users of our solution wanted. So um, so this eventually then led us to start doing solution sketches. As you can see, this is a very simple exercise where we think about our product and we said, okay, let's design some quick sketches around what the screens may look like. Fortunately, this was for a mobile, so it's much easier to do that. But even if it is for hardware, you can come up with different ways of doing quick sketches around your solution. But in our case, this is how we started to think about, okay, based on our discussion, we said, okay, we want to offer so and so things. We can offer them to help understand what their health status is. They can help them do certain things with their health and then keep a track of it, and so on and so forth. And as I said, one of the insights was on family. You said, okay, let's figure out a way of building something for their family, because family are an important component of any employee. So these are solution sketches. So journey maps, storyboards, and solution sketches allowed us to get critical feedback from the employees and the users, basically, about what we are trying to build at this site. So again, this is a very crucial step. Like, we didn't get in a hurry to say that, okay, let's start building a teleconsultation platform for helping people talk to doctors, or let's start doing this and things like that. We said, okay, before we write any piece of code, let's start at least asking people about whether we are building something that is meaningful and valuable to them or not. Then we eventually sort of use this to also then convert that into paper prototypes. As you can see, we were able to quickly convert them, use the same screens, and then use a no-code tool like Marvel app, and then create a mockup. I'm going to quickly show you a video of how this works in action. So as you can see, those same solution sketches we have used, and then created some hotspots, and then we said, okay, these are the things, and then we started showing to typical users, and then taking feedback from them. And again, as you will go further in your this whole curriculum and course, you will learn about design sprints and how you need to sort of run this quickly and then take feedback. So again, the idea was not to what do you call wait for a lot of feedback to come in, but just about 5 to 10 users was good enough. Like typically 5 is an ideal numbers from whatever. Now most of the recommendations are coming, which are saying that even if you speak to 5 people and it will help you quickly understand, validate or invalidate some ideas, that's good enough for you to move forward, at least to make one. So the key thing here again was that before even we wrote a code, we were able to get some crucial feedback on uh, on um, on our product without having to invest time, energy, money into this. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so again going back to the design thinking model that I had been showing and sharing. This is where we are. So now we were on this phase where we started to sort of explore different ideas and solutions. So again, the key is that because we were not um, because we were not necessarily um, very fixed to a solution or an idea, we could sort of quickly explore multiple components of the solution separately using those paper storyboards and paper prototypes. So again, we diverged and we quickly validated those. So you can see that for this exploration, we did storyboarding, journey maps, and solution sketches. But then we needed some concrete feedback. So we started to use paper prototypes, no code apps like Marvel, to further sort of give, you could say, narrowness to our understanding or validation of some of things. So we started to design specific, you could say, questions or experiments around saying that, hey, we want to definitely ask them that whether employees are interested in this aspect of healthcare, or whether this will change, or will this be valuable to them or not. So this is how we worked on it. So this is my second, you could say, core learning slash principle that I would love to share with you all, is that validate the biggest risk and cheap, fast and cheap kind of thing. So validate the biggest risk fast and cheap. What do I mean by that? See, in our journey of from an idea to defining a product, you will have many, you could say, risks. So sometimes there will be that you don't know who the customer is. Sometimes you don't know what the right solution is, that you don't know even right product. Do you have the right technology? And so there will be many questions and many problems that you're not clear about or that you're uncertain about. You will not be able to solve all of them, right? Or you will not be able to target all of them. So you need to validate the ones which are most important ones. So always focus on the right problem statements or risk that will not allow you to move forward, or that will, if proven wrong, or if you took a misstep, then it will be very costly for you, right? Like for example, you're about to commit to building a specific, you could say, AI model for predicting you could say failure in a machinery, right? So you're going to invest a lot of time in doing that, right? So what is the biggest risk that you would want to validate? So biggest risk you want to say, hey, do we have we identified the right types of you could say machines and use cases where failures are expensive, where failures are not currently identified well in time, whether predicting these will help you could say will be a very valuable to a particular manufacturer, and things like which are these manufacturers? Are they manufacturers of small screws and nuts and bolts, or are they manufacturers of bigger, complex, more expensive products like satellites and drones, or rocket pods, or high-end machines and so on and so forth, kind of thing. Or for that matter, in software, like, hey, so think about that in terms of that, and you will learn about different types of risk. There are market-related risk. There are feasibility related risks, and then there are viability related risks. So always think about which are the ones which you want to validate. So always think about, to me, always the market related, you could say, risks are the ones which are most crucial, because if you don't miss that, you will end up building products which nobody wants to use. So think about that. Like, think about who would want to buy this product, why would they want to buy it, whether something exists today which is not as good as your product. Is your product 10 times better than what is currently available? Will I be able to make solve a substantial problem? How is this problem measured? How does it impact? How will they value the success of this, that whether it saves time, whether it saves money, whether it improves something, whether it eliminates something, etc., etc. So think about in that, and how do you do? And for doing all that, you don't need to build a product. You can pretty much use some of those things that I talked about. You can show customer journey. Oh, this is how we're going to use that. So use simple storyboards, paper prototypes, etc., to quickly validate that and get a feedback. That, like, for example, this step was very, very useful for us because we were dealing with employee health benefits, right? So in employee health benefits, there are many, many types of health benefits. Like, you have insurance, you have doctor consultation, diagnostic test at home, home delivery of medicines, so many things, right? In terms of, so it was good to know that what was the problem, and we didn't. We quickly realized that a lot of these things were already being provided for. Already some of the other players were solving it. Plus, internally, we did not have the expertise to do something like that, or we didn't want to do that, and so on and so forth. So it helped us understand that what users were looking for and what was served, what was overserved. So a lot of this was overserved. Like for at that point of time, everybody was offering doctor consultation over telephone, right? Whether it was Practo, your 1mg or mFine, almost every large player was offering that. And we said, hey, we will not be able to do anything better if we even, and at best, we will have to rely on something else. Plus, I had deeper understanding about that. At the end of the day, doctors were not available. So we will always have a shortage on the supply side, and we will not be able to scale this up even if we wanted to offer that. And neither will we have any differentiation and things. So we quickly realized that there is no differentiation in this market. That those problems are well overserved by many existing players, so it will be difficult for us to create a differentiation or build a 10x better product in that categories. So again, validate fast. Like, for example, the storyboards, the journey maps allowed us to quickly get feedback without having to build, so we didn't waste a lot of time. Plus, we didn't have to spend money on developing these and then launching it and so on and so forth. So it helped us do that. So please bear this in mind, that this is a great stage for you to be in, that you moved away from problem, and now we are narrowing towards what solutions to build. So this is this before you start building solutions, before you start writing codes, spend some time on this, because this is the best time where you can think about 10 ideas. Like, for example, you can think about many ideas, many solutions, because you will not be able to build many solutions. You will probably be building one solution, or at best 2 solutions. So especially when you're dealing with a problem statement that can be solved to many ways, or many solutions exist for that, it is best that you invest time at this stage and get as many feedback from your target audiences and target customers. Yeah. Okay, so again, I'm gonna ask you all to take out your pen and paper. This is a favorite part that I enjoy doing that, and you would have seen that is sketching into boxes. So either if you have sticky notes, well and good. If not sticky notes, you can just take a notebook paper and fold it into half, and then again fold it into half, so that you will have four rectangles. If you have an A4 size sheet, then you fold it fold it 4 times, so that you get 8 boxes. And that's the reason, if you see, the exercise is called Crazy 8, because when you fold the paper, you end up with 8, you could say, small boxes. So just keep folding till you get decent size, you could say a post-it size squares, right? And all that you have to do is either from whatever you heard about our problem statement and our journey, either from that or from your own product or your own idea, draw one interaction on that thing, like very similar to what you see here, right? Draw one interaction, and that interaction can be as simple as, okay, here I want to just show how to add how to have family members, right? In terms of who is a family member and who are the dependents of the family members. Here, this is some sort of a checkout, like it is like some sort of a cart, and there's some sort of a checkout. Here, there's some sort of a checkup which I want to show. And so this is like a little bit more, still a little bit more dense, I would say. It can be one single interaction. It can be, okay, sign up here, or buy here, or choose here, or tag here, as simple as that, or join here, etc., etc. Simple interaction. So I want you all to do 4 squares, 4 simple interactions, one interaction, 1 minute each. So we're going to put the timer on. Just think about what is the core interaction, and think about core interaction, not general things like sign up and things like that anyways you would be doing it. But what is one core interaction within your whole cycle? Like, okay, is it something that they need to sort of share with something, or they need to upload a file that's part of a core part of the product, or they need to do a bunch of tasks, or do they need to buy something, do they need to tell something, do they need to record something, etc. Whatever that one interaction, just draw that in simple. It need not be very fancy. It can be as you could say scribbly as it can be. It need not be any artistic, right? Just 1 minute. Okay, so you get an idea. One more, and then okay. Hitachi, should we do one more, or can we move forward?
I think we can move forward.
Okay, all right. Okay. So now that we have defined some ideas about what solutions or what features work better for us, the next task was in terms of like, how do we now start giving it shape and form, which is like a product. Like, it's like, how do we now translate that ideas, rough sketches into something which is a tangible product? Like, so now this is the place where it starts to become. And over the years, this has become again much easier. In early days, there was no such easy tools and options available, but now a lot of interesting tools and options have come in, which allow you to create much richer, you could say, mockups, and then also sort of accelerate the development cycle through those mockups and through those tools kind of thing. So we have used something similar. So we've used Adobe XD to create these mockups. So these are app screens. So we created those app screens, and then those app screens, and we eventually also sort of translated into a sort of a quick interactive prototype that again allowed us to seek important feedback. Again, the idea and methodology was very simple. we would pretty much invite 5 users every week and show them these things, and then based on the feedback, then we'll now we can see those rough sketches that we had drawn. We are now almost giving some shape and form, but yet still software development had not started at this point in time, but still we could get some quick feedback. We were able to make some tweaks. We were able to eliminate some things, add some things, and so on and so forth during this feedback. You can see here a lot of at this point of time, our idea had matured quite significantly, and we said that that our idea is not just about providing just health benefits, but can we measure it also? So quantification became a very important theme during this discussion, which nobody else was doing today in the market. So this is an example of an interactive prototype using design mockups, and that in turn helped us to build the MVP, and that we launched in the Play Store, and that was our version 1 release of the product. I'm going to sort of come back to this a little bit later on, but let me also show you the final product so that you know how the final product looked like, and then I'm going to come back to the MVP. What do we mean by MVP? And so this is the final you could say screen flow from our app. Now you can see that we have added a privacy you could say feature at the beginning, so that the users could secure, because again we're dealing with health and healthcare data, so we wanted to be secure. We added the component of rewards because we through our discussion we realized that people need motivation to do something. This was a feature. Now we started to blend in some things that we had identified early on. If you remember, I spoke about HR managers and business managers not being able to get enough feedback. So we added a component where through these micro surveys, like they will be able to quickly assess the pulse of the employees. They'll get some feedback, and employees will have a chance to give their feedback through through that. This is another core feature that we did. So from all the many things that we had identified, we said that hey, emotional fitness became a very core important theme. So we said, hey, how can we measure emotional fitness of an employee through this mechanism? I mean, through this kind of thing, because everybody was talking about everybody needs to be emotionally fit, mentally fit, and so that they can be relaxed, they can do their work. If your mind is diverted, if your mind is not focused, then how will you do your work? So we ended up sort of working on this tool and solution, which is a very high-powered AI-driven solution, where the idea is that every day the employees are asked one question. And these questions change every day. So some questions are about, see, for example, in this example, the question is about reporting manager, right? And so, like, what suggestion do you have for the reporting manager to take your opinions more into account? Some questions are linked about their health. Some questions are linked about their organization. Some questions are linked about their overall motivation and things like that. And the user has to respond to this question by recording that in a quick 30-second, you could say, voice journal or voice entry. They just speak freely, whatever comes to their mind. And we use this voice, you could say, file, and then using backend AI, you could say models, we are able to then process this. Break down this voice file into multiple subcomponents, and then we are able to generate emotional fitness scores for that for that employee for that day. So you can see there's overall mental fitness score, and there are sub scores like energy, clarity, crispness, and control, and so on and so forth, kind of thing, right? So these are sub scores that can be and all those scores are eventually you could say tracked over time. You can see here the users can track that, and they can see over time if their emotional fitness is going up and down or not. As well as there is a component of gamification where reward points were accumulated, and for each milestone, employees will be rewarded for coming in and taking activities or doing activities on this app, kind of thing. So some of these screens may be familiar to you from those sketches that you have seen. So eventually, this is how the product shaped up, and the product is still undergoing changes as we speak, as we get more and more feedback about our product and use cases from our target audience. So I wanted to sort of leave you with this. I think I like both these visuals a lot because, again, there is a lot of there is a very difficult understanding of where to stop and what is the right way of thinking about MVP. So this is where we can think about the MVP is not building in parts, but building something that is usable. So earliest showable, earliest so paper prototypes, etc., become here. Earliest showable, earliest testable are interactive prototypes. Earliest usable are again interactive prototypes and things like that. And earliest likable / usable will be your mobile apps that we built and things like that. Some of the tools that we've used: design mockups, focus group discussion for exploration, interactive prototypes, usability testing, etc. for that. So the third core principle I want to leave you with is fear and failure are markers of success. This is something that that a lot of people don't talk about it, or we have been trained to think about fear and failure in the wrong sense. But this is a very crucial, you could say, change of mindset you need to have when building products and solutions. That both fear, if you're getting feared, fearful of something, that means you're moving in the right direction. You're taking bold steps. You're taking big steps. Similarly, failure has to be seen as an experiment, as an opportunity to learn from these failures and things like that. So make sure that you identify them well in things like that. Don't be bogged down by that. There will be many you could say stages where you will fail, where you will be fearful, but that should not make you retaliate and go back, but should help you think forward and say that yes, I'm making progress, and you need to keep persistently take action, kind of thing. You can write down your 3 biggest fears in your journey. This will help you understand what your biggest fears are. Some people have fear of talking to people. Some people will have fear of showing their product, launching the product. Some people will want the fear of building, you could say, incomplete product. They are not perfect and things like that. They'll wait for perfection. So all those fears are things, but those hold you back. So please focus on that and do that. And again, like I said, now this was my intent of this session, that how do we sort of move away from building wrong products and increase your probability of success. Like I said, understand the problem deeply, validate the biggest risk fast and cheap, and make the failure markers make the failure as marker of success, and not be feared by that. So if you take these actions, I'm sure you will find success in your journey. And I believe that some of these things that we spoke today will be helpful in throwing some light on that. Some of these resources that I have enjoyed work, I highly recommend this, because especially for the topic that we are currently discussing, this is a fantastic book. I'm sure you'll be able to Google it, and you'll be able to find a free copy of this $1 prototype book. This tells you in terms of how you can practically build prototype, including building prototype for you could say physical things. Thank you so much. I hope you all enjoyed the session, and maybe we can take 1 or 2 quick questions before we close the sessions, if that's okay. If not, then we can close.
Will be coming. So post this, I'll send it to you so that if you could tell me the answers, I'll broadcast it across all our groups that we have in our centers.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yes, I have received the questions. Maybe post this session, I can send it to you, and then we can circulate the answers towards all.
Super. Perfect.
Yes. So So thank you so much, Tarun. Very beautifully you have explained the entire journey of peak health and also very clearly in terms of the steps that you followed in terms of building your product. I believe that this detailed journey will have sort of created a direction for all those teams today who are planning to build their software-based product prototypes in this internship program. So
Yeah.
with that, yes, with that, thank you so much, Tarun. Thank you so much for your time for making for this webinar. And also, I thank all the students for being such a great audience and listening to our second webinar in the series. So with that, thank you so much. Good
All right, my
afternoon.
best wishes. Yeah, please go make the change. I think that's what is there. I think taking brave steps and big steps is only going to help everybody win and bring out some new interesting solutions. I look forward to hearing from you and my sincere wishes to all of you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Tarun. And thank
Bye
you
bye.
all. Yes, bye. Goodbye
Take care.
all.
Bye.